today you will understand about webhooks in a very easy manner, and so that you remember it lifelong. I'm trying to cover this with one example, one very easy example, so that you get to know this concept, and then we will try it out in N8N. So imagine you have, like, just imagine your childhood days, and you went to your friend's place, and your friend's mom is a very good expert in making cookies, and you are really fond of those cookies. You went to your friend's place, best friend's place, and your best friend's mom is in kitchen preparing those cookies, and you are mesmerized with the smell of that cookies and everything. You love cookie very much, and your friend's mom is a very good baker and cookie maker. So what you'll do, and you'll go and you'll run to her every time, like in kitchen, and you keep on asking, right? Are the cookies ready now? Because you cannot, you are very much excited to have those cookies, and you love cookies so much. And I mean, guys, you can replace cookies with anything, like whatever you think you love. So you just keep on going every 5 minutes asking, right? Are the cookies ready now? So the friend's mom says, no, not yet. Again, you say, after some time, you go and say, what about now? Again, she says, no, they're not ready. Again, you say after some time, and you say, and you go and check, are they ready now? So like it's like annoying, right? To friend's mom, right? Why he's coming, or he or she is coming every time, and it's very annoying. And that's how the APIs work. So we keep on pulling the data and polling, right? Is my request process, is it done? What is the current status? Like, you keep on asking. So, but webhooks is little bit different. So assume that now, assume a webhook, like when your friend's mom says, you go and play, whenever the cookies would be ready, I will call you. So now the action is on the friend's mom. Whenever the cookies get ready, she will notify them, her children's, that please come and eat, right? So this is the concept of webhook, where you stop asking every time, every regular interval, that is the request ready, is the something ready or not. Instead, the system tells you that this event occurred, so like cookies are ready, please have it. So that's what webhook is all about. So webhook means it will notify you when it happens, instead of you knocking door or checking it every time. Similar to what webhooks we know APIs, right? Application Programming Interface. API is when you basically asking every time, like get request, post request, patch, right? Whatever it is, we always hit that URL, and we always fetch the data, pull the data. So API is always you asking or making that request. So the child, the guy, he was doing, that is in a form of an API request. And what the friend's mom did, that was a webhook. Like, whenever the things will be ready, I will only notify you. You don't have to come to me. So as a concept, API, like who starts the conversation, it's always you. When I say you, I mean our application. And webhook is the other system on which our application or our logic depends. So that is a basic difference between API and webhook. But internally, webhook also uses API. In school example, same thing, I have just kept it. So you keep going to the teacher and asking, did my exam results come? Again, after some time, you will go again. After some time, you'll keep on checking. If that is an API specific scenario, it is how you keep on checking every time. But the webhook would be the other way around. The teacher will say, I'll call your parents when the result is out. In our school days, we don't want this statement to hear, but yeah, that's how it is. The teacher will say, like, whenever the results will be announced, we will call you. You don't have to come and check every now and then, right? So that is a basic example of webhook and APIs. So your API flow, your app asks another app, your app replies, the other app replies, and you repeat this again and again. In webhook flow, your app gives an address, hey, something happens, then please send a message, a trigger. So the other app keeps on waiting until that event occurs. When the event happens, it pushes data to you. So webhooks are like triggered by events, like payment successful, new user signed, file uploaded, order shipped, anything. So these are the nodes in N8N for API. HTTP request is for API node or API functionality. And these two nodes are for your webhook. So this is a listener trigger. It keeps on listening to an event, and this node is responsible to respond to that particular event. So these are the two nodes which work on webhook concept, and this is for API. So in summary, we have API always you will pull the data by asking. Webhook data is pushed to you automatically. So let me log into the cloud instance. So now here, I will quickly create another workflow, and here we will just try to add HTTP request node. As soon as I click here, I'll again go back. So this is how the node is added. And if you just add one node, by default it will create this trigger, because we have to execute workflow. So it is basic one. When someone click on execute workflow, this button, your entire workflow gets executed, right? So this is a default one. You can replace it by trigger or something, schedule trigger or any such trigger you want. For now, we will focus more on HTTP request rather than this. Okay. So now you double click it asks you the method and the URL, like is it you want to make a get request or a post request or delete, patch, various other requests. We will demonstrate using this HTTP request. So I will just query hit some API URL and we'll see the results. Okay. So what I have done is I will go to some dummy API for testing. Okay. There is something called dummy JSON. So I'll click here. So once I click on dummy JSON and click on read docs, it will give me the options here in the right hand side. It will give me the options. Then I'll go here and click on quotes. And in quotes, I have multiple options: get all quotes, get single quote. So I'll click on get all quotes. So this is how you request to fetch all the quotes. So there are 30 quotes by default they have listed. So if I click on show output, this is how the output would look like. Okay. So I will just copy this, and if I directly paste it in the browser, it will show me the quotes data, because this is a JSON, right? It is outputting a simple JSON here with all the quotes. The first quote is this, author is this, and all that details. So what I will do is I'll just hit that from N8N. And this is my endpoint URL, dummyjsons.com/quotes, and I will get this. I'll fetch that code. So that's why I'm using get method here. And I don't have to configure any authentication, because it's an open public API. If that was behind the authentication detail or authentication, then I have to choose the respective authentication, predefined credential type or generic credential type. So I have to configure all these things, right? But it is currently it's a public API, so I will go with none, authentication as none. And here you can have various other options also. For example, if you want to have a response formatted, like in for example, include response status and header, never error, or all this stuff like auto detect, like the format of the response should be JSON or automatically. Auto detect means like whatever the endpoint is configured to return to you, it will return. Whoever has implemented this API and whatever default response type they have configured, it will always return in that, because here it is always JSON. So you will get a JSON value only. But it may happen that you have worked on some APIs and you have chosen 3 types, let's say XML, JSON, and file as a response type. So irrespective of what user want, they can choose the format. For now, we don't want anything. We'll keep it as default, and I'll simply execute this step. So the moment I execute this, here you see all the output. So this is the schema format. So quotes, under quotes, we have quote of 0, and then we have the data for the first quote. So if I just shrink this, so the limit is 30, and total we have got this many data. And if I go in table format, you can see all the quotes. So as a quote object, it is not giving you like one single quote, because it is showing you here as a completely one object as quotes object, and under that you have everything. And if you go click on JSON, then you will get the data in this. You can see it in this format. Now it's up to you what action you want to do next. You want to fetch only one, then you write that code and fetch only one particular code and display it in, or maybe store it somewhere in the Google Sheet or whatever it is. Like in real time, you just understand this will just not be codes, right? It will be a simple real time application where you are querying some data from hitting the API and fetching the data, and then you have to do some operations on that data, right? Fetch that data, manipulate, tweak it, and then take further action. So this is how you use HTTP request in N8N. If you want to get single quote, you can fetch, you can modify your request, and you can type the ID upfront. You can get this ID dynamically also from a previous node execution in a variable format. If you click on expression, you can variabilize this number also. So it is dynamically whatever ID user request, you can pass that in a variable and it can retrieve that for you. So now there will be only one record. This is the thing. And now you want to fetch, let's say you want to have this data in some other node, let's say. So what you will have to do, just fetch that information, maybe in a send email node or something, a message. Okay. So here what you can do is you can just send that code in a form of a message. You can just drag and drop and it creates that variable expression for you and you're done. So what it will do, on a click of execute workflow, it will go and fetch that code and then it will send that code in a form of a message. This can be anything, like it can be Google Sheet, storing that data in a Google Sheet, manipulating that data through edit fields. It can be any action depending on your use case. So this is how the HTTP request would work. Now let's try with the webhooks. So webhook have one, there is a trigger, and one, there is a respond to the webhook. So two parts we have here. So if you click on webhook, you get again some URL, because webhook works on the concept of subscribing to the event or listening to the event. So this is your URL for your webhook. So if you hit this URL, okay, it will not work. First, we have to listen for the test event. Listen for test event. Okay, problem running the workflow, resolve outstanding issue. Okay, fine. So for the email part, we have not configured all those details, right? So I will deactivate this for now. And now we will see. So listen for the event. So now our webhook is on and it is listening for the event to happen on this particular URL. So click to copy. And as soon as I execute that URL, let's say here, the workflow will start because the event occurred. So as soon as someone hit there, so see, it ran the workflow. Now, once on the basis of this webhook action occurred, you are running the workflow, you can also click on respond to the event. So webhook. So if that event occurred, what you have to do? So you can choose this, respond with all incoming item, binary files, JSON, respond with custom JSON. You can configure your custom JSON, let's say any value you want to keep. So these are all examples, right? Okay, I'm showing in real world, it will be real data, real JSON. So I will just save this and get rid of this. And now I will again hit this URL. Okay, this will not work now because I need to again start the listen event, waiting for you to call the test URL. So that URL, if we hit, because our entry point, our listener node for that webhook is this URL. So as soon as we hit this URL, our workflow should execute, but somehow we are getting some error here. Unused respond to web node found in the workflow. So I will keep it the default option, all incoming items, and we'll see that option. Okay, again, execute. Again, hit the same URL. Okay, but yeah, the idea of this webhook is respond to the event that occurred. And event on this URL, the webhook is configured for now, and internally, see it, I was telling you, right, it uses API internally, but it is not the caller. Every time you don't have to call, it is the responsibility of the webhook only. You will just have to configure for the event. If that event occurs, it is the responsibility of the webhook to check for the status by calling that API. So here are the options, like when you choose to respond. Generally for webhooks, it's always respond immediately. But if you have certain use cases where you want to use using a webhook, respond to webhook node. Okay, so here if we use this option, my bad guys, we were responding immediately. Now we will choose this option, respond to webhook node. Save. And now I will enable this again. And save and execute it. So waiting for the URL to hit, we'll hit the URL and done. So we have got this response because our webhook got executed and respond to webhook also got executed. And we need to see that JSON, if it has that JSON which we configured, or it only provide the information with the webhook data, the JSON that we configured. But yeah, let me now change with the JSON part, and here name. So, but the idea is like the webhook node will always act as a listener node, and respond to webhook will be like on the basis of whatever configuration you have done in your listener webhook node, it will always try to respond back. Let's hit it one more time. Yeah. So now we've got the response.